Hey, everybody. Good evening, Thursday evening. And it's time to hang with the dreamer. If you are new to the show, I am your host, the dreamer, and I welcome you all. This is going to be a very great show. And I can talk all night about who my guests are, but they're waiting very patiently in the green room. So let's just bring them on. And everybody can introduce themselves. And by the way, for everybody watching now and everybody that's going to watch this on the replay, please do consider subscribing, smashing that bell notification, because next week, July 22nd, we have the Pure Music Factory stopping by Dreamland Studios. And then the very next week after that, so which will be Horror Punk USA. So also I want to give a big shout out to High Voltage Video Magazine that has featured my show, Hanging with the Dreamer, for 4 months in a row. So a big shout out to High Voltage Video Magazine, Jay Remy. A big shout out to Odonnell Marketing and Odonnell Media. And a big shout out to everyone who stands for what they believe in. Welcome to the show. You're watching Hanging with the Dreamer. I am the dreamer, and you're all welcome. Say hi in the chat and introduce yourself now. Let's bring our guests out this evening. All the way from Madisonville, Kentucky. I give you Eric, and I give you Dustin, Reverend Jack. Welcome to the Hanging with the Dreamer.
Thank you for having us.
So, how's it going? How's everything going for the band and for everybody in the band?
Just got back from New York, and it was it was a rush, to say the least. A lot of fun, a lot of good times, a lot of great people that were up there, and yeah, a lot of great moments. And released a brand new album, and it's anywhere and everywhere, and it rocks. 12 songs on there, rock from start to finish, including my very first instrumental. So very, very excited about the whole album. It rocks. If you haven't checked it out, it's anywhere and everywhere you can stream music.
Well, we've got a little taste tonight on the show, and we can talk about the history of this video I'm going to play. If you would like, we could talk about the history of Forever Town, either before Forever Town, that's featuring Phil Richards, or would you like to talk about the song after the video's done playing?
Doesn't matter. I think let's watch it, let's enjoy it, and then we can talk about it after.
You got it, Dustin. Sounds like a plan. Well, okay, dreamers, here you go. If you'd like to know who Reverend Jack is and why yours truly, the dreamer, loves them so much and loves their music so much and is inspired by the music so much, here's a little song. It's called Forever Town. Enjoy, dreamers, and say hi in the chat. Ask the guys a question. Let's have a good show tonight, dreamers. Thank you for being here. This is Forever Town.
Come on, boys! Let's get in the car and go! I'm still moving on. Been so long since I've seen my home. These restless days and sleepless nights, I know I'm never alone. I find my soul in these city lights between the wheels and the road. Hurry lights passing me on by. I may be sore, but I can now let the turn. Burning daylight, as the sun goes down. Destiny is mine and free. I'm taking my heart to forever town. Living life like a gypsy in the wind. Can't remember where this road began. It's so hard deep in my dreams. Can't think of what I need. Leaving trouble behind. I'm just burning time to find a piece of love. Hurry, like passing me on by. Love may be sore, but I can nothing but turn. But in the light, as the sun goes down, destiny is mine and free. I'm taking my to forever town. Passing me on by. My baby sore, but I can nothing but turn. Burning daylight, as the sun goes down. Destiny is mine and free. I'm taking my to forever town. Destiny is mine and free. I'm taking my heart down, forever down. That's right.
That was beautiful.
Cool. Yeah, that's such a fun song. It's such a fun song.
That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely. You know, the riff and just the opening riff. Resurgence America, someone has a hot mic, not to do with the headphones. He either means
Jesus.
Hey, Resurgence America, welcome to the show. My name is The Dreamer. Thank you for being here. So, Dustin, is your mic running hot?
Yeah, I don't know. It should be. It might be. I don't know.
Hey, I'm just lucky enough to be a gaming nerd that has like gaming headsets and stuff. So
That's cool, man. That's
I haven't
cool.
played. Good Lord, I haven't played games in Milltown in how long? Oh, God.
Resurgence America saying meow.
Wow.
but The White Bailey says sounding great. It sounds great.
Awesome. Thanks so much, dude.
So let's talk about that opening riff. That opening riff. That opening riff for Forever Tone. Would that happen to be a Telecaster that's tuned down half a step with like, I don't know, maybe 10 gauge strings on there?
Did you have the telly for that one?
No, that was a Charvel.
That was a Charvel. Okay.
Everything else is right.
So he used to have a telly, but it was not like a traditional one.
It was on the first. It was on the first. It was on the first EP. I did have it was a 2005 Korean-made Fender FMT Showmaster. They don't even make those anymore. God, and I think at the time I had Duncan's in it, and but that was on the EP.
No, you had the Aldridge pickups for that one.
I had Aldridge in it, but when we recorded it, I switched back to the distortion in the bridge.
Yeah, unfortunately, he did not have the telly for that one.
For that,
he wasn't that cool.
Yeah, I had my Charvel, which I love. I love my Charvel.
Is it like an 80s Charvel, Justin?
Actually, to tell you the truth, I've got it pretty handy. So.
Oh, cool. Let's check it out.
It's the great big closet of all the guitars.
That's awesome.
Ta-da!
There she is.
Look at that. There she is. That's a Charvel Sandine, right?
Recently, just got.
Oh yeah, the Skolnick signature. I forgot about that.
Edition.
That just happened. That's sad. That tells you a lot about my memory.
So.
Oh man, look at that. There's got to be some way you could preserve that signature, Justin.
Probably needs to get it clear coated.
That'd be.
I love this thing. Yeah. No. Yeah. Still got it right there.
That's amazing. Are those DiMarzio pickups?
Oh man, I can't remember. We went on this like big adventure to try to figure out exactly what they were, and I don't remember. I don't remember what I can't remember what the pickups are. Destin, as soon as this camera catches up.
Well, they look like to be super distortions.
Yeah.
No, because I think they're actually Duncan's, from what I remember. And I thought that Nick pickup was a Screaming Demon, but
clearly, this thing has definitely seen some wire. Yeah.
Oh yeah, beating it up because he always wears like these fancy belt buckles.
That's it.
Road rash.
Oh, plenty of our guitars have plenty of road rash.
Character gives them character.
Well, there he goes.
He'll be back. So
at some point.
Let's see here. Harley Baby One's here. Hello, Dreamer. Hi, Harley Baby One. Welcome to the show. Then Dwight Bailey says, great little guitar. Yeah, Dwight Bailey now has some killer Jackson Randy Road V.
Oh, he's got the V's. Nice.
He's got the V's. For sure, sweet. My favorite part of the man, his Gibson.
Dustin hasn't pulled out his Gibson yet. He's got one. His two main guitars, he's got that Charvel Dinky, that blue one he was showing off that he got Alex to sign, and then his other one I believe is it's either a 2020 or a 2021 standard. I think it's a 2020.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a real nice guitar. It's a chunk. It's a oh my gosh, it's wearing a boat anchor. Luckily he's a big dude though. Like it's hard to tell on video, but Dustin's like 6'1", 200 pounds. So he's a big guy. I couldn't do it. I'm little. I'm only like 5'7". That's too much weight for me. Hey, there he is. He's coming back.
He's coming back. What's up, Dreamer? Chris, CRIS, Chris. Song was rocking. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here at the show. And please consider subscribing, smashing that bell notification, because I've been working real hard on networking and talking to people, and I have some shows lined up literally to the end of the year already. And I just need to get them scheduled. But I'm just waiting for a couple of confirmations. But yeah, welcome. So that's Dustin, are you back? Can you hear me okay?
He's always playing.
There we go.
All right. So Dustin, what kind of pickups did you discover? Or
I don't know what happened. Aliens captured.
Sorry, I lost you. What was that?
Oh, no worries. I said yes. Aliens captured me, but they brought me back.
Oh.
I wouldn't shut up.
Yeah, that sounds about right. He's a talker.
Cool. So I have another video, and this one caught my attention because it had Las Vegas for a backdrop.
Yeah.
Talking about greed.
Yep.
So let's get into it. Hey, Dreamers, I've got another video for y'all. This song is called Greed. Enjoy.
Money seeks to become a master, and the motivation emanates from this thing called greed.
Tell me, do you feel the way that I do? Tell me, do you see the change? I do. I just wanna tell somebody everything I lost my mind. Drop the time is like a man, a piece of your mind. Little love is what we need. But the screams are the sea. Give it all for what you own. So your soul, so tomorrow.
It is history now. 15 million, 5,000. The phone lines are lit up at 97X. Everyone wants their chance at the $10,000 prize.
There's people dying in the street that never made the news. Falling through tragedy, never more than just a bruise. But deep inside this hurt you pray, the fuel to drive your best. Let me sing it for the night, time is all the rest. Little love is what we need. Hope is greed inside the seed. Give it all for what you own. Don't your soul, there's no tomorrow. This greed is what we made. Soldiers all one last mistake. Love is lost in a world of sorrow. Lost it all, there's no tomorrow. Give it all for what you follow. Turn your soul, it's no tomorrow. Little love is what we need. But the screams are the seeds. Give it all for what you follow. Turn your soul, it's no tomorrow.
There you go, guys. What do you say?
Awesome.
What do you say? What do you say? What is the history? Evidently, there's Dwight Bailey. If you're still here, Dwight, can you tell me, is the playback audio okay? And thinking, drowning out sound, and saying, yeah, Resurgence America is completely murdering the sound of the video. What? Mm-mm. We don't do that here. Anna. Resurgence America says, yep, the guy without the headphones is my guess, is looping the audio. Oh, I get it now. Can you guys hear the audio okay when I play these videos?
Yeah.
I can hear
fine.
it. I tend to turn my mic on mute anyway when I'm not talking, just as a habit.
Dwight Bailey is saying the playback audio sounds compressed. Yeah, YouTube does that.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a natural YouTube thing.
That's a YouTube thing, exactly. Not Resurgence America. It's a YouTube thing. No disrespect. So, what is the history behind greed?
Well, greed was basically, I mean, it came through about the time that COVID, all kind of COVID was happening. It was kind of in the later stages of it, but I had the concept in my head. I said, "What is the most deadliest of the seven sins? Greed, the love of money." And I said, "Everybody at least has some kind of issue with it, whether it's a minor one or a major one." And I said, "Well, I want to sing about it." And or I want to let Eric sing about it. Excuse me. I'll write about it. I'll rock it. I'll let Eric sing it. But and I just told the truth straight up. I mean, a little love is what we need, but this greed is our disease. I mean, it's so true, and I love being straight up, being honest, and especially expressing it, in music. I mean, it's the best way to do it, I believe.
That's it. Yeah, that's got to be honest. Got to be straight up. Got to be straight up. The message is too important, At least I think it is anyway, as a music fan. First and foremost, the message is what really resonates with me. Let's see, Harley Baby One saying, good song. I can relate to some of them lyrics.
That's awesome.
Exactly. And that's why I love this band. Because you guys got it. And that vibe. So before I really get into the vibe, asking about the vibe, but what is the large? I kind of touched base a little bit before going live, but I'm gonna have to ask again. What's the largest crowd that that Reverend Jack has ever performed in front of, and who was it, and who were you playing with?
Eric, you want to take that one? I mean, I believe it's 400.
Yeah, I would have to concur. This is several years ago. The first, well, that's an interesting qualification right there. The first Foreigner show. Who we're talking about 2.5 years ago, give or take. St. Charles, Missouri. We opened up for Foreigner at the Family Arena. And that was an interesting show for us just across the board. It was the first time we'd ever dealt with, like an arena crew where we weren't allowed to touch our own gear. They had to take it all inside. And that was weird for us at the time. We spent the last couple of years being a bar touring band at the time, and to not even be able to carry your own stuff was odd. But yeah, I think it was that show. I think it was 3,500 or 4,000 people, somewhere in that range, and I think it's the biggest show we've done to date.
That is impressive.
It was definitely interesting.
Oh,
congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What was that like? I mean,
it was my.
Well, I know that they were a little bit shaky, but I'm kind of like, I get in my own world. So I walk on stage and like lights hit me and I'm just like, all right, I'm in mode. Everything is like,
yep.
Every ounce of my brain is like, perform these songs as well as possible. Perform these songs as well as possible. So I kind of shut off and I just turned into this like puppet of like dancing and singing and just playing songs. And then you end the show and then you just start coming, like I rushed that back to my body and then I just hear this roar of applause. And it's like, this is nothing I've ever heard before. I mean, we've heard applause, but 3,000 people, 4,000 people start applauding. It's a very new experience.
It was wow.
Yeah, we were definitely. I mean, you always hope. You always hope you walk away and someone enjoyed what you did. And but it was very, very different to have that many people applaud and then people saying that when they saw us after the show, how they liked our music. So it's an experience on itself that's very difficult to describe in words, especially coming from the situation that we just been through. We've been a bar touring band for 3.5 years, and now we're in front of all these people at a Foreigner concert.
That was just absolutely unreal. I mean, still chill bumps even thinking about it, because as soon as those lights hit you, you really couldn't see anything. You really couldn't see anything past about like the first 8 rows, and then finally when you focused out there, all you see is eyes for as far as the eye can see.
I do remember one thing that I did though. At the end of the show, I had a stack of picks on my amp, so I ran back to my amp and I grabbed this stack of picks and I run to the end of the stage and just go and I just chucked them. And it was terrible because I don't think a single one made it more than 10 feet. They just hit the air and just like started sprinkling down. So somebody out there has like 25 of my picks.
Well, I know it's not me. Whoever it is, congratulations. Because I'll tell you, the music that I've been listening to for the last 2 weeks, you guys keep cranking this out and keep staying locked in and laser focused. You guys are gonna see things that you've only dreamed about when you were kids. I guarantee you that. And I mean, you've already started. You've already did jamming with Alex Skolnick, touring with John Five and Jared James Nichols. What was that?
So a fun story about that. So I'm trying to remember. I think it was the Detroit show, or it was in the Detroit area. And so I watch a lot of YouTube, and both Dustin and I are guitar players, and we're kind of gear nuts to our own degree.
Mm.
and I watch a YouTube channel called Trogly's Guitars. So probably a month before we go on this tour, he does a review of Jared's Epiphone Signature. We go on tour. Jared's like, "Hey, you want to go to Wendy's?" And I'm driving to Wendy's in a van with Jared, and I look over at him. I go, "Man, not a month ago, I was just watching a YouTube video about your guitar, and now I'm just in a van with you? This is kind of odd. This is kind of weird." He's like, "It's all good. It's all cool, man."
Yeah, Jared's a great guy. He's awesome.
He is.
He's super cool, dude.
And I'll tell you,
First time we met on the first show, it was at it was in Grand Rapids at the Music Factory. It was the first date that we had. As soon as we got there, he got out, and I just saw him from the back. So all I see is hair. And the first thing I said is, "Oh my God, it's Ted Nugent."
Mm.
And he turns around and he goes, "Hey, I'm Jared." And I was like, "Oh, what's up?"
Yeah, for anyone that hasn't met Jared, Jared is a large man. He's about 6'4", with
tall
a
guy.
lion's mane of
Good
hair. He is a large, imposing man.
he's a great
Very.
guy. He's a sweet guy. He's a real down to earth human being. You know.
Oh yeah, and he'll crack up with the best of them. I remember on tour, I was like, "Hey man, check out my guitar real quick." And I play my main guitar is a late '90s PV Wolfgang. And like I said, I'm not a very tall person. I'm 5'7", so my strap is obviously rather
It
short.
looked like a little toy on him.
Well, no, he puts it on. And he goes, "Man, this thing's a toy. It's like this is like a child's guitar." And I was like, "Thanks, dude. Thanks."
Ah, oh, the short scale neck. That PB Wolfgang.
I love it. It's my main guitar and it's my baby.
It's a great guitar. So, it really is a great guitar. I remember when they first came out, and I remember when I used to have the original EVH PV amp, and
Yeah.
that thing is like a collector's item now.
Yeah.
Especially that first revision of them, the block letters.
Yeah, and but when those first guitars came out, it just I couldn't take my eyes off of them. And
I had an opportunity to buy one of the EVH Music Mans, and I almost did, and it sold out. So I took my honeymoon. Me and my wife went to Japan, and there was one they were selling there. And by the time we had gotten there, I couldn't find it. So I guess it had sold. And I was so bummed out because for me, it's like, oh, I'd always wanted one, and I always thought they were cool. And I was like, if nothing else, it's a collector's piece for my kid later on down the road. I missed out on that. We got back, and I don't think it was much later. I bought my Wolfgang. I ordered it. It was the first guitar I ever bought without ever touching it, and I was just on Reverb going, "I've got to have this guitar," bidding on it, and the guy wasn't getting back to me, and I freaked out, and I was like, I told my wife, I was like, I'm afraid this guitar is going to sell before I get it. So she's like, "Just do the buy it now price. Just buy it." It's like, yes, I convinced her. I bought it. It's been my main guitar ever since. It's my baby. It's got a tiny little neck, and I got these little baby hands. So
it's perfect. It's perfect. So what are you guys using? Now I've seen. We've got a thumbs up, and that most likely is from my wife, Cindy. But
wives are awesome.
They are.
Yes.
They are. They are. You find the right partner. You find the right woman.
I know I found.
Absolutely.
I know I found mine. I came home. So my birthday was actually the day after the release. My birthday was July 10th. And so I was in New York, and I get home, and she's got this giant bag of a bunch of different Reese's products because I'm a huge Reese's nut because I love chocolate and peanut butter. And so she's like, for my birthday, she just buys me this giant bag of my favorite root beer and a bunch of Reese's stuff.
Hey, Tony.
I was like, yeah, you know me so well. That's exactly what I would want.
Fruitcake Tony is my #1 fan.
That's all.
Cool.
I
What's up,
just
man?
want to say, without fans like, yeah, ask the guys a question, Tony. Trust me.
We're not too shy.
There she is. There's my beloved. There's my Cindy right there. Hi, babe. Thank you for the hearts. Thanks for the hearts. Thank you. So if you have a question for the guys, babe, type it in the chat.
Yeah, throw them at us.
So
We don't get scared easy.
So with the with going back to John 5 and Jerry James Nichols, what can you guys put, both being guitarists yourself, put that into words, what it was like to watch Jerry James Nichols and John 5 night after night after night after night?
Oh my gosh. So first off, they're so completely different animals when it comes to guitar playing. John is this very precise, like, I don't want to say machine like, yeah, he's technical. He's very precise, technical player, very light
technical.
touch, very, very consistent. Like he's gonna be very consistent every single night, and he is fantastic, insane level stuff. And if you're into like a really technical player, John is fantastic.
John,
Incredible. But on the other hand, you have Jared, and Jared is this very
greasy, shoot from the hip.
He's shoot from the hip. He's heavy-handed. He is beating the guitar. He is making the guitar work for him. You know, he's old school blues kind of guy. Yeah, he's using his thumb. He is getting everything out of that guitar for what it's worth. And they're such vastly different players, but incredible in their own right. And I love watching both of them. Both of them were just amazing to watch.
Mm. I that brings to mind, I wonder, I mean, to be able to have a chance to watch night after night that caliber of musicianship. Wow. That it's like
it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
I will say one thing about watching Jared. So we spent so much time with him. I was trying to like replicate how he played, just because I thought it was cool. That is quite uncomfortable. After about 10 minutes of playing the way that Jared does, my thumb was just killing me. Because he's not like I finger pick, so my hands are, fine for that. But he is literally, he's beating it like you would with a pick with no regard. He is beating the guitar. I don't know how he did it. He is thumbs of steel.
Have to be.
Jared, yeah. Well, I mean, in the same right, John 5, that, you have the Rob Zombie set, John 5, that's just chunky and solid and just chuggy, and stuff like American Witch, where he's doing a palm mute on the low E string, and then doing like a finger like up like the 12th fret, 10th, 12th fret, dun dun dun. It's like, and his right hand is just consistent, dun 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 dun, dun, just like that, bum, bum, bum. And it never stops. He just dun 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 dun, plays a song like that, dun 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 dun. I'm like, wow.
He is so precise. His timing, everything is precise.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's laser.
I could probably count on one hand every mistake that John made the entire tour, and they're not even mistakes. Like, they're just like
happy accidents.
one little sound that wasn't quite exactly perfect.
Yeah.
Like, he is, as a guitar player, so incredibly consistent. I don't think that can be overstated. So incredibly consistent as a guitar player.
I agree.
Because I know for me, I'm a blues based player, and my background is very loose, and I can't imagine having that level of consistency night after night after night. And the thing is, you know, when you tour with John is a guitar player, and he wants to play every night. So you're gonna play darn near every night. Any night that he can get booked is gonna be booked. And he's just doing it night after night after night after night, and the consistency is out of this world.
It was just laser precision. It was on it every single night. I was like, does this guy ever screw up? I haven't seen it yet.
Well, I don't know. I'm not gonna say it.
I was about to say, I haven't seen it yet. I've never seen him.
The guy, he's perfection. He really is.
He is. I mean, he's just, and he's a solid guy. I mean, super, very, very intelligent guy. Kind of laid back whenever he's off stage, and really knows his stuff.
Yeah, very kind person as well. Very nice.
Yeah. Very gracious. Yeah. That's amazing. It's always so nice to hear that somebody can be kind and nice and gracious and appreciative, and they're at this stellar, out of this world, supernatural level, and they're so nice. It's just like, hey man, how you doing? You know, and that gives me hope in humanity. And I literally, and I love to hear that kind of stuff. That's cool. Thanks for sharing that. So,
Absolutely.
Alex Skolnick, the Alex Skolnick experience. What was that like, Eric and Dustin?
Oh man,
I'll let Dustin fangirl over this one because he is a huge Skolnick fan.
Obviously. That was so we were told that he was gonna, because he lives in the New York area, and they're pretty close to where we were playing, and so then we're told that he was actually going to come out and play Crimson Seed with us and jam on a couple of classic rock tunes, and one of them being Mississippi Queen, the other one being Hard to Handle, and we're going to jam away.
To be fair, we're like, hey Alex, can you come out and play on Crimson Seed? He goes, yeah. I'd like to play on some other songs too, if that's cool. So we give him a list of the songs that we do, and he goes, I want to do these ones. It's like, oh, okay.
It surprised me that he picked those two. I was like, really?
And during sound check comes up with this impromptu chicken picking telly jam with the drummer.
That was sweet.
And I was like, I just did not see this coming at all. He killed it though, man. He killed it.
Alex Skolnick, that's awesome.
Alex, how many times do you hear that phrase? Yeah, I saw Alex Skolnick chicken picking.
Never.
I've never said that. That's amazing.
I'm just imagining like a bunch of country boys. Man, I went out and see that Alex Skolnick boy. You were chicken picking and laid it down. Just put it down, boy. That's right.
That's great. That's awesome. I'm glad that he's doing that, and I'm glad that, man, he's just got this jazzy. He has a jazz trio, and the Alex Skolnick jazz trio. Excuse me, and he's so diverse. He's so diverse
very.
in his guitar language, Now, speaking of diversity and speaking of guitar language, let's maybe, if y'all are up to, let's chat a little bit about Chris Chaffee and Joel Hoekstra.
Oh yeah.
The twin-headed monster of TSO East.
TSO. Yeah.
Twin-headed monster of TSO East, man. They are just and not to mention like all the stuff that they've done. Like Joel being in Whitesnake, he's toured with just about everybody, I think. He was touring with I think he was doing a Whitesnake tour and it ended up filling in for Foreigner for a little while. He's another guy. Oh my gosh.
He's played with everybody, man. Foreigner, Night Ranger,
Cher.
Played with literally everybody.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And then you throw Chris Chaffee in on that.
Yeah, Chris is phenomenal. I mean, you have to imagine the level of diversity that you have to play a lot of the TSO stuff, let alone all the other stuff that they've done.
Yeah,
you know, Chris has his own solo stuff. Chris does the Sabotage stuff.
Sabotage.
Yeah, I mean the level of versatility they have to have as guitar players is a step up from anything most of us ever have to deal with.
Definitely.
You know, all I got to do is like, all right, I'm gonna play these power chords. Cool. But yeah, they're incredible, and they did what they did for the album was incredible as well.
Oh, it was amazing just to have those names on.
Yeah, Joel played on Get 'Em Up, and he played on, oh goodness gracious, I'm blanking right now.
Keep 'Em Rock Alive.
Keep 'Em Rock Alive. Yep, and then Chris played on Crawling Inside.
And No Face Race.
And No Face Race. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
Man, they
tore it up, man.
I can imagine being in a recording studio and listening to these guys track. Wow.
If you want to hear guitar playing, and you're like, oh, that singer, his voice is a little too girly for me, check out Get 'Em Up, the instrumental thing, because
wicked.
Oh my gosh, I bet Joel had a lot of fun on that one.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he was having a good time.
Well, when I hear Joel talk, and he's just hanging out, and he's just chatting.
Yeah.
He's talking. He's so diverse in his communication skills, and he's so welcoming, and he literally embraces you with his words, and he's amazing. And Chris Chaffee, oh my Lord, Chris Chaffee, I watched him on the When That Metal Show was on. Remember When That Metal Show was on?
Oh yes, I used to love that.
I haven't seen that in years.
Well, Chris Chaffee was the guest guitarist for one episode.
I'll have to track that down.
He's just ripping, just killing it. And then he stopped, he's just sitting there looking around. Like, that was cool. Just like, no way, man.
Oh, I know, right?
You just destroyed that thing. And then he's just like, all right. It's like, man, Chris is amazing. He's amazing. And there was a question on this episode. There was a question that Eddie Trunk was asking, or he was given Stumped Trunk, and it was it was a sabotage question.
Oh.
Chris is sitting there, and he's looking at Eddie Trunk, and Eddie Trunk's just like trying to figure it out, and Chris, and he looks up at Chris. Well, you know what I'm talking about. And Chris goes, huh?
Tries to play it off.
Yeah, it's cool. That was good. And when I saw Chris do that, I knew right then and there. And this guy is ultra intelligent,
Oh yeah,
and
most definitely.
He's got such a bright personality about him, which translates into his playing and his performances. Then you see Trans-Siberian Orchestra, TSO, live. I don't know about anybody else, but the last time I saw TSO, I was just glued. I was just glued to the TV. I was just glued, just spellbound, dumbfounded at the power and the magic and the versatility behind a TSO set.
Oh, it's incredible. Every song is like a movement. It's
No, man, words can't even describe. So, speaking of orchestration, does Reverend Jack have any plans to want to record an album with any orchestration?
I would love to. Those are always my favorite albums to listen to. So as a side note, for probably most of my friends, this is nothing new. This is an absolute, well, yeah, duh. I'm a huge Alter Bridge fan. And me and Dustin were on our way driving back, and we were actually listening to my favorite Alter Bridge record, which is their live at Royal Albert Hall with the Parallax Orchestra. I love orchestration with rock and roll and hard rock and metal. I just think it's incredible, and I think a lot of that probably comes back to to me being like a music education major, because I went to school to be a music teacher, and I was in band and choir, and I'm so used to hearing orchestration. Maybe it's just something I subconsciously miss, but I love orchestration with rock and roll. I would love to. I think that would be really cool.
What do you think, Dustin?
Yeah, I've always loved classical music. I mean, it always takes me to relaxing. It usually takes me to a relaxing state, but not all the time can it take you to a relaxing state. And I can also, I mean, it can bring out every emotion that's in you, really, because of all the movements that are in it. I mean, you got Bach, you got Beethoven, you got Chopin, you got Tchaikovsky, you got Franz Liszt. I mean, you got so many out there that just are all and these guys are the originator of the major scale. They wrote it. So, I mean, that's just, and always revert all the way back to how music was more or less originally composed, and in its raw form like that. It's just gorgeous, especially all those instruments and all the instrumentation just melding together. And then, of course, you add a modern rock element to it, and it to me, described in 4 words, epic.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So when you guys perform live, do you use regular 412 cabs, or do you use like direct out boxes?
For me, it depends on the show. I use generally live. I use a floor unit. It's a modeler, and a lot of the times I'll go direct if we're using a PA system, if we're in a larger venue, just because it's simpler. My main job is to be able to sing, and I've got to focus mostly on that, and it allows me to not have to do so much tap dancing. I can have presets, press a button, that preset every night.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't have a large PA system, what I'll generally do is I run that into an AC30. I run it to the FX tube of an AC30, and I just crank that thing up and start getting some tube in there. But 212 for me. It's pretty much what I use when I use a cabinet.
What about you, Dustin?
Yeah, I've used so many things over the years. I used to use and used to live and breathe nothing but a 412, and even previous I used a full stack before, but which is why I'm actually, this here is why I've pretty much, I'm almost gone in this area. I've got about 87%, 87% gone in this one. I can hear things, but it's not crystal clear. Over here, it's still good, so I'm trying to hang on to this one. But now it's actually, hello. But now it's actually,
oh wow, yeah, that was a
wow.
that was a slap in the slap in the face of a day when everything got canceled. That was rough.
No kidding.
That was a great time though. Those 400 dates when we were out in Wisconsin and doing all those shows were such a great time.
Oh God, yeah.
So,
But like I was saying, I've actually moved to a 212 cab. I've got a 212 cab, and I run a EVH 5153. And
after about 3 years of me yelling at him saying a 412 is too much, go to a 212.
But it's perfect. It's nice.
It's too loud on the stage. I can't deal with the loud on the stage.
It's nice and tight and punchy, and I like it. But yeah, it does the job. I'm not a big pedal guy. I've got a few pedals. I run a Exotic X. These are my new ones. I got a Exotic X1 wah going out of my wireless system, which is a Shure GLX wireless system, which I have both of them on separate wireless just in case anything. And for tuning, I just always swap it out and get another one. Then out of that, I go into a John Petrucci Dreamscape chorus, and then to the front of the amp. And then in my effects loop, I've got a Levitation by Earthquaker for reverb. I've got a El Capistan for delay from Strymon. And to keep it all quiet, TC Electronic Century for a noise gate. And that's it.
That's right, you're in the Century now. Because you broke, what was it, the Hush that you had, right? That you broke?
I've had the Hush, I've had the Decimator, I've had the Smart Gate, I've had the NS2.
That's what it was. It was the Decimator. You broke the Decimator.
you broke the Decimator?
Yeah.
He broke it. You know what? And he lucks out because I actually am. I spent a couple years as an in-store guitar tech, so he's broken lots of stuff that I've had to like fix on the fly. Like he broke a wah once.
I broke several wahs. I
had to take it apart.
I don't know why, but yeah.
Well, I remember when you broke the output jack of it was the input jack of one wah, and you're like, dude,
add the Hammond wah for a little bit.
I had to take it apart and I had to go in there and fix it like 30 minutes before a show.
It was in Louisville. I remember it.
No, that was Charlotte.
Was it Charlotte? Oh yeah, it was. Okay. Yeah.
I remember. I don't forget when I have to fix stuff for you.
I gotta ask you, Dustin, how in Blue Blazes did you break an ISP Decimator?
He breaks everything.
Well, I've got big feet.
He breaks everything.
No.
Actually, to be honest, I don't even remember. It literally just stopped working one day.
I wore it out. I'd had it for, good God, I'd had it for prior to actually playing with Reverend Jack, I had it in my previous bands that I've had, and I've been in bands ever since I was 13, 14 years old. I think I got that Decimator, good Lord, when I was 18. So, yeah, it had just been through years and years and years of stomping and moving and stomping and moving. So it finally just said, okay, I'm done.
Dustin's rather hard on his equipment. I'm hard on my guitars because I just beat the hell out of them. He's just hard on his equipment.
That's amazing.
That's why I want to make sure that it's going to withstand a hurricane.
Well, yeah. But I'll tell you, I have an ISP THEDAPRO, the MSX edition, the black and yellow edition.
Oh, yeah.
Michael, that thing, it's not a modeler, it's not a profiler, it's a tone shaper. And I gotta tell you, ISP knocked it out of the park with this one. And that's
wow.
I've
been seeing those. I want to try one.
Absolutely remarkable. organic, pure,
Wow.
organic, and it's a tone shaper. You
Oh, wow.
design, like putting together your own amp,
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, cool.
like putting together your own JMP, putting together your own Wagner, putting together your own Vox 1830. This thing, if you ever get a chance, check it out. The ISP THEDRAMERSLIFE MSX. It's black and it's yellow from Michael Sweet and Striper. And it,
Striper. I'm a huge Striper fan.
me too. Me too. Me too. I was a huge Striper fan when they first got together, and I'm a huge Striper fan now. I love everything they did when Michael Sweet went and did the little stint with Boston. I was just like,
Yep.
he really still got it. He sounds wonderful. And
Oh, yeah. He's still great. Still great.
well, everybody in Striper, Robert Sweet still killing it.
Oz. I love Oz Fox.
Oz Fox, yeah. So we're talking about guitar pedals. See, now this is something that I could probably talk about for the rest of the evening, just because I my experience and stuff. But right now, I really want to ask. We're talking about Reverend Jack's new music now. What was it like knowing that you're gonna work with the likes of an artist that was actually in a project with Dee Snider? You know who I'm talking about? You remember who I'm talking about?
I believe so, yeah.
Well, I gotta tell you, Captain Howdy.
Oh, my God. Yes.
Captain Howdy. Another remarkable artist. He's amazing. When
Certainly an interesting artist for sure.
No
Mhm.
kidding.
Some might call him quirky.
Wow.
I might have to take the Chris Chaffee stance on this one. I love Chris. He's great. Well, what's the ultimate goal for Reverend Jack? What's the ultimate goal? What's the ultimate vision playing life? How big of a stage does Reverend Jack want to work up to?
I'm simple. I just like getting on stage. I honestly forget where I'm at. I just see an audience, I see a stage, and I go to my world and try to be. Well, I don't try to be anything. I literally just turn into a kind of another flip coin of myself. Like I said, I'm rather reserved and rather soft spoken on a day-to-day basis. But I don't know. I hit a stage and I just kind of come alive, and as long as the audience is having a good time, like that's home to me. Other than being at home with my family, that's like the second place I'd want to be. Doesn't matter the size of the stage, doesn't really matter the size of the audience, as long as everyone's having a good time. Let's rock and roll.
Amazing, Eric. Amazing.
Yeah, I pretty much just took the words right out of my head. I mean, the only difference I would have would be like,
The pyrotechnics.
Being on top of a mountain. Yeah, we got to. Being on top of a mountain, overseeing like 1 million people and having like 55 cabs behind me wide open.
I'm thinking about the Hall of the Mountain King right now. You said mountain.
I will say I've always had this like this
Sabotage.
dream idea. So I lived in Owensboro for quite some time, which those of you who aren't familiar with it is literally a city that's right on the ocean, or not the ocean. Oh man, I'm dumb. On the river. So there's the Ohio River, and it literally is the separation between Owensboro and Indiana. You cross a bridge, you're right in Indiana. So it always made me think of like, man, it'd be so cool to have like a barge, like a flat barge, set up and have this giant show for people that are all across the riverfront. That's like a dream show, but like it's not super practical, and it's not something like, oh yeah, every show needs to be this. But that would always one thing that I've always wanted to do is just like do this crazy barge show for an entire riverfront. Just slowly going across, playing rock and roll music.
Why not? Why not? The only thing that I see, we lost Dustin again. Uh-oh.
Well, I think he's there. I think he probably had to go take care of something real quick, because I can see he muted his mic.
Good observation, Eric. As the way you were describing that right there, all it takes is that iota of a hope. If you guys can open up and play with Foreigner in front of a Foreigner crowd, you guys can accomplish. He'll be back. You guys can accomplish anything.
We certainly try to accomplish anything. And like I said, I'm very fortunate because I tend to be more middle of the road. Like I follow a rule set my mom ingrained in me at a very young age: plan for the worst but hope for the best. So I'm always kind of floating there in the middle. But it's kind of hard to fight Dustin's his positivity. It's very infectious, and it's kind of it definitely keeps me going sometimes. There's plenty of times when I'm like, man, that's not realistic. And he's like, no, but it's cool and we can do it. And I'm like, that's fair. We can certainly try.
Absolutely. Well, Dustin back. So we'll
there he is.
Just wait for him to pop in. As a frontman, what's the most important as a frontman, Eric, as an artist and the fundamental frontman of Reverend Jack? There he is. Hey, Dustin, welcome back. And what's the most important thing that you need to remember, whether you're performing in front of one person or 50,000 people?
That's tough. There's a lot that goes into being a front man, obviously.
There we go.
Obviously you're kind of the face of the show, whether you like it or not, especially being front and center. I would say my personal rule set is always, every show should take someone's mind off whatever they were doing that day, whether it was if it's a crappy day or whatever. They could be the worst day of their lives. But when I start singing, when I start performing, my job is to make sure that his day is instantly better. That is my job. At the end of the day, I'm an entertainer. That's what we both are. We're musicians, of course, but we're entertainers. Our job is to make people feel better. At every step of the way, and we enjoy it, and it's a very cathartic job, especially when you think of it that way. I talked about this with someone not recently. There's a bit of selfishness and narcissism that comes along with it, because it's you're kind of prodding your own ego with, oh yeah, I made that guy's day feel better. But there's also a bit of egalitarianism to it that hopefully at the end of the day, my pride or not, I've made someone's day a little better.
What about Well said. Thank you very much.
Yes, totally agree with that. That couldn't have been said any better. Because I know that everybody go through crap all through the week. So come out, see us, forget about what you're doing just for 30 minutes, hour, 2 hours, however long we're playing, and just enjoy. Just immerse yourself in the music. That's the magic of music, because it can take you, places that alone you'll never find. REO Speedwagon in there, but yeah.
Oh, I thought I kind of felt that you were going to go for the Triumph route. You got the magic of the music.
Magic of the music's in me. I could have gone either way, but yeah.
I was definitely thinking that you might go towards the Triumph route. I was waiting for it.
I do love Triumph.
I know you do.
Me too, Rick Emmett. Yep. Got the magic of the music, and that's it. Right there. So, who is on the bucket list for Reverend Jack to work with next and to record with in the studio and play on live?
Man, I don't know. I really don't know. My list probably endless.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Very, very difficult.
Oh man, it'd be cool to have Mark Tremonti do some stuff. Obviously, showing my Alter Bridge bias there. Yeah. I would love to do. This one's probably going to go over some people's heads. I'd love to do some work with Ian Thornley. I think he's incredible.
Ian Thornley.
I love Ian Thornley. I'm also a huge Big Wreck fan.
Yeah. Ian Thornley. Yeah. Wow. That's a good one. That's a really good choice.
He's killer, man.
He is. And so, Dustin, you really can't name. You really can't.
I really don't know. I mean, there's so many. I could be all, but I'll tell you one that I would freak out about. Probably. I'll throw you a curveball, Eric. You probably won't expect this one. John Petrucci.
Oh, I could have seen that one coming from a mile away.
Oh God, I love Petrucci.
I wonder what it would be like to perform.
Oh my God.
And to record with Paul Crook.
No.
Paul Crook. Meatloaf fame.
Ah, okay. You were over.
Wow,
you went over my head there a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
I was like, wait a minute.
No, you're good. It's not hard. I'm still only 5'7".
Well, Paul Crook, and I think that would be pretty unmistakable. Bitchin'. Work with Paul Crook and to work with Mick Mars.
Yeah. Ooh, Mick Mars would be interesting. Yeah.
Mick Mars would be cool, man. He's a great riff writer.
So, question: sober Mick Mars or back in the day Mick Mars? Conundrum.
I love Mick so much as a person and as a spirit, a creative spirit, an artist. I'm gonna have to go with sober Mick Mars.
Oh, okay.
You know, I watched his guitar solo that he was performing. It was like the Cruise when they were gonna retire and do other things. Mick wanted to do it. Has been wanting to do a solo album for a while now, I was watching him. He was locked in position. Yeah. What I I'm gonna stop there. The Mick's very impressive live. Very, very impressive live. He has this charisma, this spirit around him, and he just got his head down and he's locked in. And he's just killing it.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, Eric, who would you say are your primary vocals, your primary influences as the primary vocalist of Reverend Jack?
Well, I must probably say, so I've got a couple. One's probably going to throw you off because it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense with what I do. And then one's going to be like, yeah, I get it. So obviously, growing up, two influences are I'm going to be Journey and Foreigner. Grew up with Journey and Foreigner. My mom was a huge Journey and Foreigner fan. I've listened to them my entire life. There's no way around it. Also listening to Bad Company growing up.
Paul Rogers.
So yeah, Paul Rogers for sure. One now we get to the one that's like he is the top of my Mount Rushmore when it comes to rock and metal vocalists. Like me and Dustin argue all the time about it. To me, he is the God King of rock and metal vocalists. No one can surpass him in my eyes, and that's the man, Ronnie James Dio. He is leaps. He's to me. He like there's Ronnie and everyone else is just down here trying to catch up when it comes to rock and metal, and I just can't. And I wanted to be a Dio. I wanted to be Dio. Like I tried real hard to be a Dio, and I just wasn't. And eventually I grew out of the phase of like, all right, this is never going to happen. So, but I took a lot of, I've definitely been inspired by him over the years, being as big of a Dio fan as I have been. And I love Dio and everything he did. The Elf stuff, Rainbow. I loved the Sabbath years. I loved all his solo stuff. I love Dio. And then the one that's going to make the most sense, especially with the particular way that I sing, which is funny because I never tried to sing like this, but me and Dustin talk about it all the time. There's got to be at least some subconscious influence. And I love the man to death. I've met him once and I've seen him twice. Is Miles Kennedy from Alter Bridge and Slash and his solo record. I love Miles. I think he's incredible.
Well, things, I'm a firm believer that things don't happen by mistake. And let me tell you why I say that. If I may, you mentioned Dio. Now, number one, when I was listening to Greed for the first time, actually listening to the song, and when you started singing, I thought of Ronnie James Dio. You got it in your heart and your soul. And that magic and that blind faith in his own ability and his musical vision, Ronnie James Dio had that. We'll always have it as far as I'm concerned. You, my friend, Eric, you have a taste of that. You have it. And I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I could feel it. The very first time that I heard, well, let's even go to Forever Town. I just closed my eyes and Dio's face did blast in my head. And it's not just because I'm, I came up on Black Sabbath and Elf and Rainbow, Deep Purple, James Marshall Hendrix, Zeppelin, but Dio, Ronnie James Dio, he has a special place in my heart because of everything that I'm trying to describe. You have it, my friend. And for you to know and to have such an admiration for Ronnie James Dio, I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's some kind of energy, this supernatural energy that's being given to you. And we tend to emulate our idols. We tend to emulate and be like the theremin playing, violin bow playing James Patrick Page. And I went so much that I have something here. Oh, here it is. I bought a violin bow, and I was trying to figure out, how does he do that? He has a wah pedal, has an echoplex. How did James Patrick Page get that definitive 70s Zeppelin tone? And that we all know and love. How do you do that? And I mean, I had a delay pedal set at like a slapback with a mid to fast return time, repeat time. And I started boom, 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 trying to manipulate my left hand, boom, 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 boom. So I remember watching how Page was doing that. I killed that bow like in 20 minutes. I destroyed it. I thought to myself, there's got to be an easier way to do this. So I got an Evo.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
These things are fun. Dustin, have you ever played with one of these?
They are a lot of fun.
And then you throw in some delays, some verb, a little modulation, and then throw on a looper.
Oh, they get crazy.
I just wanted to share with that. That just goes to show you how powerful that my personal influences are. So that's why I could say relatively with enough confidence to you, Eric, that I really believe you just have it in your heart and your soul. And I believe that when it comes to Ronnie James Dio and that swagger and that mystical, magical, holy self, you've got a bit of that in you, my friend.
That's incredibly high praise. I'm sorry I was shuffling around there, but you were talking about the Evo and stuff, and it reminded me of something I've had for quite some time. So, I remember when Ronnie died. It was a huge hit for me because I'd never gotten to see him live. Now, one of the things I did was for a short period of time, the Ronnie James Dio Foundation actually was selling these. So this is rest in peace, Ronnie James Dio, and on the back it says R.I.P.
Amazing.
And they were going to, and it was for benefiting cancer research. So when they released them, I remember I ordered one pretty quickly, and I've had this I've had it since a couple months after Ronnie died. So I've had this forever, and I just keep this put away. I wore it for a long time, and I figured that I wanted to save it. And yeah, he was my first hero when it came to vocalists. Like, there was no one else. You know, I got into rock and roll because of, you know, guys like Santana and Clapton, but I fell in love with Ronnie. He was just the man. And I still remember to this day, I was at a friend's house and I was researching Ronnie just because I researched the stuff that I love. So I was researching Ronnie at the time and looking up information about him, and it still sticks with me this day. I was probably I was 13, and I found out that I share a birthday with Ronnie. We're both born on July 10th.
That's what it is. Now that you shared that, that's what it is, my friend.
And I still remember that day because I came flying out of my friend's computer room, running around his house screaming. He's like, "What is wrong with you?" It's like, "I share a birthday with Ronnie James Dio." That was a good day. It was a very good day.
I'm picturing that. That's awesome. That's beautiful. I'm glad that you had that experience. And how did you feel when you first realized that?
Oh, I jumped out of the chair. I literally was sitting down in like a desk chair like I am now, and I jumped out of the chair so hard that the chair flew out from behind me. It flipped backwards.
That's the energy I'm talking about.
I was so excited.
Congratulations. That's something I don't know how many people can say, my friend. That's your connection. What about, when's your birthday, Dustin?
It is in the shortest month of the year. February 26, 1990 at 8:13 a.m.
Mine is one of the hottest months here. My birthday, June 10th.
June 10th, yeah.
That's like right at the beginning of summer. I'm just like, you know, things happen for a reason, I guess. Well, Mark is here. Hey, Fruitcake Tony, Dwight Bailey. Dwight Bailey saying hi to our good friend Mark. Edwin Cran is here.
That's right.
Yes,
He is.
I agree.
He is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dwight Bailey saying hey to Edwin. Edwin saying hey, man. Dwight Bailey. Hello, my friend. Hope you're doing well. And Shark Mark. Let's see, Lamb Shark Mark who says, hey, Edwin. I'm doing well, thanks. Edwin says, hey, Dreamer's Life. You are one of the most passionate metal hard rock guys I've ever seen, brother. Well, thank you. That's kind of you. Thank you. I don't look at myself.
That is very nice, yeah.
That is very sweet. Thank you.
I'm looking at that picture with the skulls in it. It looks like a 7-string. Is that what I'm thinking?
That is a 7.
That's cool looking. That's real cool.
Thank you, Evelyn. I'm glad, Landshark. Well, I just like to, Landshark Mark and Fruitcake Tony. They've both been on my guest appreciation show. Numerous, and even Landshark Mark helped me test out this new microphone that I'm using.
Cool.
And I appreciate his friendship. He really came through in a pinch. I owe a lot to him. He, I hope he gets his package soon. I sent him my old audio interface, and I sent him my old mic, my old Prism's mic, a boom arm. So because he's got a show called The Party Line, and that's on Mondays. So I'm hoping he gets his package quickly. Everyone says yes.
7. Yeah, I dig that. I dig that artwork. It took me a second to just to see what it was because it's blends into this blue, and I tend to look at people while they're talking. So like, it wasn't till you were posting a couple of times that I was able to see like it was a guitar. Yeah, that's cool. I like I like the skull artwork. Like it's subtle, but it's cool.
Well, I just saw that the Dreamers Life got a new subscriber. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Reverend Jack, where can everybody go to get Reverend Jack music?
www.reverendjack.com.
Simple and easy.
www.
Very easy. reverendjack.com. It's got everything on there. It's got links. It's got bios. It's got pictures. It's got dates. It's got links to all of our social media and how you can get in contact with us, how you can jam with us, how you can follow us on Spotify and everything. So reverendjack.com.
You hear that, Dreamers? reverendjack.com.
Yeah, that's right.
Landshark Mark, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate the package and the party light mention. Dude, you're welcome. You know, I appreciate you, man. Because without you and Fruitcake Tony and all the rest of the Dreamers that have been watching my stuff and are with me in the chat every week, week in, week out, without you guys and without my awesome guests like Reverend Jack, and I'd just be a guy talking to himself sitting in the corner of the kitchen. And thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you for being a part of the Dreamland Studios family. And we're all just one big happy family. You know, it's I've met some incredible people since doing the show. Let's talk about gear a little bit. I know kind of touched on the guitars and touched on the modelers, but I'm speaking to two guitarists. And I'd really like to know what another guitarist, a pro guitarist, thinks. Why do people make such a big deal and literally, verbally waste time and go to war over amp and pedals cabinet or floor unit? Why is that?
Oh, I thought we were going to go the other unspeakable things to talk about, which is tone wood. You can't. Yeah, you can't.
God.
Neither one of these arguments goes down a particularly great hole. You know, we're actually a great couple of people to actually have this argument with, because Dustin is very much tube amp cabinet, and
Analog is gonna be.
And I'm a modelers guy. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love tube amps. My favorite amp is an AC30. That's what I have. I've had it for 10 years now, and I love it. It's my go-to amp, really, when it comes down to it. And that's what I recorded whiskey with. I recorded whiskey with an AC30. So for me, it's convenience. So I live in a world of in-ear monitors, and you know, I'm sealing off what I'm really getting on the stage. I'm not hearing the cabinet. I'm not hearing the amp. What I'm hearing is the sum of what that amp and cabinet sounds like through a microphone. And for me and what I do, the modeler's not giving me a whole lot different of a sound. The convenience of, you know, maybe if I was just strictly a guitar player and that's all I had to do, I might go with the amp and cabinet route. But I have so many things to deal with. I've got to be a front man. I've got to be a showman. I have to sing. I have to play. So when I'm having to tap dance to do all these things, it becomes more of a distraction than it is anything else. It hinders the performance. So for me, with my modeler, my floor unit, I press a button. Every effect I want is on. It goes to the amp simulation that I need. It gets the cab the simulation that I have it programmed for. You know, my tap tempo is right there if I need to adjust it. Everything is very compact and very easy to deal with, and I don't have to do a bunch of button changes to get to the exact setting that I need. And every original song for us more or less has its own preset, and I can go right there at one touch of a button versus having to turn this thing off and turn this thing off, and now I got to turn this thing on and switch back and forth. And for me, it's what I was getting in the payoff was not enough to justify not moving to a modeling unit. You know, the difference is there. I mean, I can hear it, but it's so little once you start putting it into in-ears. And I think that's where me and Dustin would go back and forth on ours, because he would go, I can hear it. I go, well, once you start putting it through a microphone and into in-ear monitors or through a PA, the audience can't tell the difference. They don't know. They hear a microphone and an amp, and they don't care.
Yeah.
So as long as I get relatively close, like the cork sniffing, you can tell the difference. But on a live show and in that situation, it's so similar. It just wasn't worth the trade-off for me.
What about you, Dustin?
Like I said, I've always kind of took the Ed Van Halen approach. I mean, you know, guitar, cable, amp. And
What's wrong with that?
This is all you need right here. Just the volume knob and fingers. But then again, like I said, I was kind of an old school player. I'm, you know, old school player at heart. And that's just, I mean, now I have tried the modern day technology of, you know, the Kemper, the Axe effects, and now they have, I think, a new thing called the Quad Cortex, which is all the
Cortex.
Yeah.
rage now, which actually.
And he had what did you have? Did you have the Helix?
I had a
Head Rush. That's right.
I had Head Rush, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very well. Actually, I bought it used, and the cool thing is it had some Chop Tones IRs already built into it, and the one I used was one of my favorite amps, which one of these days I am going to get. It was modeled after an SLO 100, and it sounded really, really good. I was impressed with it, and it done the job for the John 5 tour. I played that the whole time, and it was.
And luckily you had it, because there was a show that you had to go direct as well.
Yeah. But it done the job. It done the job very well, and I was at first, you know, I was like, it's gonna sound, you know, when you play like, you know, fast stuff, it's gonna be like all staticky and like nope. Sounded very good. It was very, very organic, very huge sounding, very kind of 3D sounding. I liked it actually a lot. But then, as soon as we got back home, I said, click. Yep, there it is. Every time I just plug straight into it, and I was like, nope, yep, there it is.
Yeah, now to be fair, so we just discussed that I'm in ears using a modeler. He's on a wedge and he's using a live amp, and one of us has perfect hearing and the other one does not.
Fair play.
Yeah, I could see that.
Is it 70% in your left ear?
Closer to 80 going.
Yeah, severe hearing impairment in his left ear.
Well, every cramp.
If you're looking at it, be all right.
Would have tone when you hit it with a hammer.
Yeah.
I love maple with that. So, and then the harder the wood, the more sustained. Also, the bigger the headstock.
I'll say for me, and I'm probably going to get myself in trouble with a lot of guitarists on this one.
Not here.
I'm not I think tone wood exists. I think it makes a difference, but it's so minuscule with how high output our amps and how much tone shaping you have with your amp and your pedals and your pickups anymore. It's It's again kind of like the Modler thing. The difference is there, but it's so minuscule. Is it really worth it? No. And a lot of people will crap all over basswood. All Eddie's guitars were basswood.
Yeah.
Everyone called him a king of tone, and everyone likes to crap on basswood. Well, you know why he used it? Because it was light. He liked it because it was light. And that's why I use them.
Basswood resonates.
It's a great wood.
Basswood is solid. Maybe not like a big chunk of mahogany.
It dents easy. I would say that's the biggest negative on basswood is it dents real easy.
But there's something to say. Everyone's laughing.
Older.
But there's something to say. Basswood bodies are kind of like the best way I could describe a basswood body is like playing a Gibson ES335.
Yeah, they're nice and
light.
resonant. I will say this. Now my guitar resonates so much, the PV does, I had to go through and like insulate it. It was just everything rang on it. And I love the guitar. I would say for me, tone wood, the biggest thing about wood is I like a maple neck. And there's two reasons why I like a maple neck, and they have nothing to do with tone. One, for whatever reason, and I've tried to disprove it myself, and it makes no sense. I can feel the difference between mahogany and maple no matter what guitar you give me. I don't care if it's clear coated or not. I can always feel it, and I don't know why. I've had buddies hand me a guitar, and I go, I don't like it. Why? It's got a mahogany neck. How do you know it's got a mahogany neck? I don't know. I can just feel it. I just don't like mahogany necks. So I like with the Les Pauls, I like the 70s because they were maple necks and they were 3-piece, and I prefer a 3-piece neck to a 1-piece neck. And the other thing is maple is more stable, so tuning is a little bit less of an issue.
Yep.
Yeah.
But those are two things that I like about maple, but that's just playability. It has nothing to do with the tone. And especially my guitars, like both of my guitars have high output pickups. Like my Wolfgang has like 14K pickups, and the neck is a hotter pickup than the bridge pickup. So like at that point with the stuff that I'm going through, like the wood doesn't necessarily matter, especially with the amount of gain that we play with half the time. It's getting overshadowed by the EVH pickups that are in it and the amount of gain that's in the Friedman patch that I use when I play. And with my other guitar, it's got a Sentient and a Nazgul, which are insane. The Nazgul is what I play most of the time in that for the drop tune stuff. And that's a very hot pickup. That's like, I think 15, it's 14 and a half or 15. Super, super high aggression pickup. So, and that one's an even higher gain Friedman patch. So,
going back to Friedman, what's your Friedman of choice?
Brown Eye. Brown Eye, the deluxe one. Dustin owned one for a while, and they're incredible amps.
They are.
They're everything. They're everything great about a Marshall, but with the special sparkle that the Marshall was missing. In my opinion, that's why I prefer them to a Marshall. There's a little bit of a mid frequency in them that it's part of the reason why I love AC30s so much is they've got that little mid sparkle in them, and the Friedmans have that to a degree, and so I think they sound really good.
Well, I can swear I can attest to the Friedman Brown Eye circuit. Absolutely clear, pure, organic tone.
Yes, it's beautiful.
I could say that, and I could say that with relative confidence because my sign's in front of it. I have a couple.
Oh no!
I have a couple different Friedman pedals.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dustin almost got one as a backup. He was gonna get one of those little power amp pedals and get a. Was it the deluxe one?
First one? No,
was it the
first one?
Oh, just the first one? We were looking at that just in case anything happened. It was a quilter. It was one of those quilter little power amp.
Like 45 watts. Just plug that pedal into that. Dude, just that.
It sounded monstrous.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Well,
Incredible.
I've got the Friedman Golden Pearl.
That's a good one.
I've got the Friedman BEOD.
Yep, there it is. That's a good one. That thing sounds killer.
Do you have the Dirty Shirley?
I do have the Dirty Shirley.
Yeah.
I like the small box.
And I have the Buxom Booze.
Yes, that's a sexy one.
And I got to tell you, it is. I love it. I got to tell you, somebody challenged me once to take all 4 pedals,
Stack them
together,
yeah,
stacking.
Oh wow!
I held my breath. I turned the drive off on all of them, and except for the Buxom Boost, I had the dip switch up, so it had the EQ, the 3-band EQ on top, and the boost function on the bottom. I turned the volume, I turned the boost to about 3 o'clock, and the volume all the way up. I cranked the volume on all of the pedals.
Oh wow!
Turned the thing completely off. Started playing. I had a clean tone. I've got a Boss Katana 50 watt
nice.
sitting there, and I'm down here. That my Revelator box is sitting on. I've got a Positive Grid Spark.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
I've heard good things about those. Do you like yours?
I love it. I love it. I just take it, hook my tablet up to it via Bluetooth, and pull up the Friedman sound profile.
Yep.
And just turn the gain off, crank the master up. And that's what I use. And I had the individual that was challenging me. I had them online. They were watching. I showed everything I was doing. No hocus pocus. No, smoke and mirrors here. I'm transparent about practically everything. And first, I hit the BEOD, and the signal just went pop. I started playing a riff. I hit the Dirty Shirley, and all of a sudden the character of the tone just started to transform. I hit the Golden Pearl, flipped the 2 dip switches up on the Golden Pearl, and all of a sudden I had this tone, this monstrous EQ'd master crank tone, and then I hit the Buxom Boost. I almost dropped my guitar.
Jesus.
And the individual that I had online was, I don't believe you just did that. I said, well, you challenged me. How can I say no?
You can't back down from a challenge.
I can't. So that was fun. And then I threw my Boss DD200 delay.
Oh, nice.
I threw the effects just for added little bump, one repeat. Yeah.
That's cool.
That was a fun time.
Have you checked out the new BE Mini, the little solid state mini amp that you just came out with not too long ago?
Actually, I've been checking it out.
Those are pretty sick. I want to check out the new Bogner 3534.
That thing is badass, man.
That's what I've heard.
I've heard it. That thing is gnarly. And go ahead, Eric.
So I'm still trying to save up to get my second dream amp. I've already got my Vox, but I'm still trying to save up to get a Victory Super Kraken.
Everyone cracks. BTW, what are epithets for anyway?
It was for hiding the cocaine back in the day.
Yeah,
that's true.
Ask me how I know. I was around back then. I'm like 70. I use a lot of facial moisturizer.
Yeah.
Everyone definitely believes that. It's totally believable. Certainly don't look like I'm 14.
It's funny.
14. So I forgot my question.
Sorry.
Good. That was good.
Hey, I learned a long time ago, people can't make fun of you if you make fun of yourself first.
I hear you. And you're absolutely right. So while we're waiting for Dustin to come back, I wanted to ask you, Eric, what would be your dream guitar?
I haven't made it yet.
Okay.
I haven't made it yet. And the reason I say that is I love luthery, and I wanted to be a luther for a long time. And that's one of my goals, is to make my dream guitar. Because I'll say the closest thing to my dream guitar is probably either my Wolfgang or the Music Man, the Stingray guitar. Those two are rather close because I like the necks on them, and I'm more of a humbuckers guy than I am a single coil guy. I want a Strat and I want to have a single coil guitar, but I'm more of a humbucker when it comes to what I actually play most of the time, the sound that I'm looking for. And then another one that's kind of come across my way recently is the PRS Vela.
Yeah.
I love that one. So my thing is I'm gonna try to make my dream guitar.
Well,
It probably failed miserably the first try, but
there's a reason why I pulled this website up. I just wanted to share with everybody real quick, if I may, with this company that I am very proud to use. These are the guitars that I own. And they have a satin neck, mahogany neckwood, 60s slim neck, like on this gold top. Fretboard is solid ebony.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah. And the pickups are hardwired, CNC. Now, look at the price on this.
Yeah, it's really affordable.
Wow. Yeah.
I strongly recommend, if you guys would like to check out a killer single cut, look at that. Check this company out. Everything, that's a SKB case you get with this gold top.
Oh wow, nice.
Everything tour ready. Everything that this company makes is all in-house. Look at this, a blonde AIO SE77 natural. Now, look at this body. When I first saw this guitar, not to mention the mother of pearl and the abalone that's around the body, and the fretboard and the headstock. These things are tone ready. They're tour ready. They come out of the case, set up at the shop. You don't have to do anything to them. You can specify your own make, model. This is the one I have. I have this one, and I have, where's the bloopers at?
Ooh, that's pretty.
I have this. Well, it's kind of a lighter blue, and look at this. This is pure abalone top.
Wow.
Look at that. Abalone inlays on, as with every guitar that comes out of this shop. Abalone everywhere around the headstock. Double abalone binding. Look at this top. So, if you guys ever want to check out a company
Nice.
that is affordable, that is pro looking, pro playing, tour ready, check out AIO.com, allinOneGuitars.com.
Well, unfortunately, the one thing I've learned for every guitar I've ever owned is the one part of guitars that are not tour ready for me is pickup switches, because I break them.
Yep.
Well, you can also specify that too when you order one of these masterpieces.
I just always have to have a buddy of mine swap out my pickup switch, because I break them. Because when I'm playing, like I don't grab them with my finger and lift them up. I literally take my thumb and just slam my pickup switch, and so I break them all the time. So I just have to keep replacing them. And there's nothing I've been able to find to fix them. I wore out, like I just put a switchcraft in not too long ago, and I've already worn it out.
I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Those are really cool
Awesome.
guitars, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
AIO.com. All-in-one guitars, shipping is free in the U.S.
Wow.
So I really think more and more pros are going to this company,
Cool.
and it's a lot easier to fill up a guitar vault with these, unless you're like a Richie Sambora or Joel Hoekstra or John Five.
Or Neil Sean with his giant collection of
Oh my
vintage
God.
guitars.
Neil Sean. You know, I found that this company is a real good go-to. It's a good standby company to check out.
I'll have to
But
check them out, yeah.
don't take my word for it. The next time you all are in a town and you have a little free time, see if there's a music store. You never know. I know these instruments are scattered all over the country. Edwin Crane, Les Paul Styles guitars. I broke a few switches as well.
I'm so bad about them. It's funny because Dustin, like, he sweats and like rusts his strings and like destroys them that way, and he'll rust out pickups. But I'm so much harder on him because I literally just beat him. I beat him. Like, yeah, it's a death grip with my left hand, and I'm just punching my guitar with my left.
Yeah.
With my right,
Yeah.
I'm just bam. Every chord is a fight.
Well, I'll tell you, Eric, I'll tell you the same thing that I was telling Dustin, that at the beginning of all of this, of the show tonight, this evening, was you guys have such an extensive dossier, background, bio, that with all the artists that you've already played for, from opening up for Foreigner, thank you for being here, Foreigner. And thank you for coming to the show and saying hi. Or touring with Jerry James Nichols and John Five. I could actually probably very easily make 3 shows out of the content that Reverend Jack has produced and brought out. You guys have a very impressive story that needs to be told.
We've been very, very fortunate.
Extremely, yes.
Yeah.
So I would love to have you guys back. If you ever want to come back, I would love to have you guys back.
Sure. I'd love that. That's it was a blast. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. And do you have, Edwin, love me some John Five.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. Who doesn't?
Man, I think we each had our own like favorite song by the end of the tour too. I'm trying to remember what yours was, Dustin. I bounced around. Like one night it was one thing, and like 2 nights later it'd be like, no, I like this one.
Something madness.
Was yours? I think mine was. I'll have to go back and look at the names because like I liked Zoinks a lot. I did like Zoinks a lot, and he always played Scooby Doo, like a Scooby Doo video.
Thanks,
Mark. Great.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys have any companies or brands that may watch this down the road on the replay? Or maybe watching right now?
I would say for us, there's the one guy we got to shout out is Tommy TKL Cases, because like we both said, we beat our guitars, whether we're beating them, whether I'm beating them playing, or they're getting beat up in a trailer, going from LA to New York, just falling. Man, we beat up our guitars. They go through so much crap. I feel sorry for them. So TKL guitars have saved our guitars probably quite a bit.
Shout out
Dustin
to Tony at DR Strings.
Yeah, Dustin and I both use DR strings for guitar strings.
Love Tony. Tony's a great guy. He takes good care of us. Anything. Always great. I love those Veritas strings.
Yeah, DR strings are great.
Yeah, I remember because Dustin. I remember when Dustin got hooked up with DR strings because we met him at NAMM. That's a cool story that we didn't even get to. Going to NAMM and meeting a bunch of people. But we met Tony at NAMM, and Dustin got his went through them. And Dustin's like, "Hey, man," because we had Diodario at the time, and he's like, "Hey, man, check these strings out." And he handed me a pack, and I put them on my guitar, and I was like, "I like these. These are now my favorite strings, and I will play nothing else." And that's what I've done for like the last 2 years is play DR strings.
DR strings, yeah.
Good stuff, man. Great stuff.
They're bulletproof.
Yeah, I play Veritas. Dustin plays Veritas on everything, I believe, at this point, and I play Veritas on my Wolfgang, and I play the Black Beauties on my myth. Oh man, I can never remember what it's called. I think it's a Mythic. It's an FGN, Fujijin, the same factory that makes all like the Ibanez Prestige guitars. But they wanted to have their own brand of guitars, so I bought one when I was in Japan. I fell in love with it. It's my second baby. It's the white one. If you've ever seen like any videos of us playing, I've got a white guitar. It's that one. Yeah, that one's a fun one.
I've seen that. It's beautiful. Yeah, I've definitely seen that white guitar you're talking about.
I got that one for a steal because fortunately, going there for my honeymoon, we're there on passports and I didn't have to pay taxes on it, so I paid like $600. Brand new, walked out the door with a guitar.
It's great. Yeah.
Well,
I was like, "Woo, Japan!"
Right before I end out, I just want to thank you guys for giving me so much of your time this evening. And this is something that I ask all of my guests, not to put my guests on the spot, but I just like to keep an open dialogue. But do you guys have any questions for me?
I can't really think of any, honestly.
So we were talking about, my inspiration with Dio, and I think I might know Japan. I think I might have like some inkling because I remember you talking about you were talking about Jimmy and the bow and stuff. What would you would say your inspiration for guitar is?
Well, that'd be James Hendricks, James Marshall Hendricks, and James Patrick Page.
Nice.
Through
the greats.
Jimmy and Jimmy, you can't go wrong with Jimmy and Jimmy, man.
When I first learned guitar, when I first discovered that I need to be involved with music, whether it's in a band or behind the scenes, but I needed to be involved, was when I was a kid and I took my mom to the movie theater on Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena to go see Song Remains the Same. And she stood in the back of the line. and that's when I knew the very first time that I heard Robert Plant say rock and roll. I knew. It's just something I knew in my heart. And then when I went to this Wolfram Ritz Miller's Country Club with my sister, and we saw the early stages of Motley Crue. We saw the early stages of Quiet Riot.
Oh, wow.
Kevin DuBrow, Randy Rhoads, Kelly Garner. Yeah, Randy was standing right in front of me, and he was a punk kid, long hair. I'm leaning up against the stage and staring into his eyes, looking up at him like this, and he's just standing above me, just staring down at me. He's just ripping, and I knew that did something, and I knew that's my passion. That's what I love, And then the next weekend, going to see Motley Crue and Mick Mars standing right in front of me. He's got the full Marshall stack going. That's just like 5 feet from my face, and he just cranked up. It busted into live wire, and I was just
yeah.
and then
Exactly.
It got me, and then growing up in Pasadena, you were talking about King Edward.
Oh God, yes.
Well, my mother used to work with David Lee Roth's father.
Wow.
And Dr. Nathan Roth. So I had the awesome experience of walking through San Gabriel Valley Medical Center with my mom when she worked there. She took me to a wing that was still being built, and she took me in, and we walked down the hall, and we stopped, and she looked up, pointed at the plaque on the wall, and it said, this wing was donated. The money was donated by David Lee Roth, Edward Van Halen, Alex Van Halen, and Michael Anthony.
Wow.
Dang.
That's so cool. Exactly. Yeah.
It's my favorite hospital now.
Right.
I was like, so going from the bars in Pasadena Civic, and then the whiskey Sunset Strip. Another one of the bands that really laid that impression on me was Shark Island. And they were called the Sharks.
Okay.
And they're out Sierra Madre, Pasadena area. And then they changed the name to Shark Island when they first started blowing up. And lastly, I guess if you guys don't mind, I just want to share real fast that my first wedding, I had a special guest at my first wedding, and that was two guys, John Gadesi, who did work on my 70s Marshall JCM 800 and redid the power tubes, the power structure. It changed out the preamp tubes. It screamed.
Oh yeah.
And the guy who is the lead guitar player for Dred Zeppelin, Carl Jaw. I've had many that came to my first wedding. And that was like,
That's awesome.
yeah, it was, I was spellbound. I was speechless. I was like, I didn't know what to say. I was just like,
Yeah.
so that's pretty much how I got introduced, to music, and how I discovered the beauty of music theory and piano when I went to school 2.5 years at Pasadena City College. I was a music major.
Nice.
So piano and music theory. And that's when I started learning the educational standpoint of it and the power of notation. And so that's the long and short of it. Those are all the roads that I've been on that have led me to where I am today. And I'm proud to say that the reason why my show is called Hanging with the Dreamer and my channel, The Dreamer Life, and why my new acquaintances know me as the Dreamer, call me the Dreamer, because one night, one dream, one vision, while I was sleeping, I didn't know how I was going to do this. I tried a show called Artist Talk. That didn't come up very well in the Google search because there's too many people, too many broadcasters, that were using Artist Talk. So I was like, no, I got to find something else. And then because my full name is William Starr Dunham, Starr, that's my middle name. And I took that in my Scottish heritage, my 18th century Scottish heritage. And I combined that with the fact that I was born June 10th, 12:15 in the morning. And I stirred all that up in a big pot together. One night I was laying in bed with my wife. She was asleep and I was trying to be quiet. I was restless. I couldn't sleep. But my eyes started to shut. And I heard a small voice whisper in my ear. It said, Dreamer. That one word. I sat up on the edge of the bed. I remember it like it was yesterday. 3:00 in the morning, staring out the bedroom window. The hair on my arm was standing up. Lay back down. Then a couple hours later, I was in the studio and I was meditating. I meditate every morning. Listening to some Dio, as a matter of fact. I was listening to some Heaven and Hell, as a matter of fact. And all of a sudden, I felt light. I felt light, like a feather. And then it happened. That was the very first time that I met the Dreamer. And I've never turned back. So I based my whole entire 1.5 years of doing this, almost 175 shows behind me. I based it all now on the Dreamer's Life. And that's how the Dreamer's Life had begun. And I will only share that with people that I call my brothers. And I call you guys my brothers because I appreciate your time. I appreciate your sincerity. And I know that it's only a matter of time before you guys just explode. You already have the resume. You're already opening up for Foreigner. in front of a packed, jam foreigner crowd, touring with Jared James Nichols and John Five. You guys have already started your resume. I see a bright future for Reverend Jack. The music of Reverend Jack. And I believe that's going to just evolve and evolve and evolve and evolve. And it's going to be even more powerful of an entity, musically, sonically speaking, as it is now. And I highly encourage all the dreamers that have hung out. Thank you for hanging out. Check out Reverend Jack's music. Go to YouTube.
That's awesome. I love that.
Type in Reverend Jack. Go to YouTube and type in Reverend Jack right after I close out. I'm telling you, you gotta hear this band. They will just take you on a rock and roll, bluesy, magical journey with them. And you will feel like you are a part of their vision. Thank you, Reverend Jack, for coming on my show.
Thank you for having us, man.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
And I just want to say good night to my dreamers. Thank you, dreamers, for hanging out. And please contact Eric. Contact the rest of the band. Check out Reverend Jack. I highly recommend checking them out. Reverend Jack on YouTube and all social media platforms. Support local music. Support the dreamer. Support the artist. Because this is what we believe in and this is what we stand for. Thank you, everybody. And here is Dustin.
He's coming back.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out and showing as much love as you have. Good night, guys. Bless you all. Bless
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.
And be back here next Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the Pure Music Factory. That's going to be another good one. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. And on behalf of the Dreamers Life and Dreamland Studio, I just want to say, God bless you guys. You're part of my family. I love you. You're my brothers. And I appreciate you both.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. See you guys later. And if anybody has any questions for me, my phone number is on Facebook, my like page. People can get it. I'm very easy to find. So if you'd like to come on show, please email me at hangingwiththedreamer@gmail.com. And I'll make you one of my first shows in September because we're booked up until then. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I love you. You rock. Reverend Jack. Description box. Reverend Jack.